All right, so let's get to these.
I know these are the worst.
This is 4 more years of this. So anyway,
and we gotta listen. Like people are like, oh, I can't let I just turn it off. Like you and I, other small podcasters, big podcasters, Midas Touch, and everyone else owe it. Our dues to society is to watch this shit, play it, talk about it, retweet it, put it on our social media, because someone is going to see it and hear it. They're not going to hear it on the local news, right? So we have to get there that way. Like we just do.
Jesus Christ, you kind of just changed my whole view on this, because I'm thinking to myself, do we really have to listen to this fucking nonsense for 4 more years? Yeah. I mean, and we do have to, but you're right. I mean, even if the smallest amount of people see just the clip and then it's not put into context or it's not described in a way as being nonsensical, right, then people won't think of it as anything other than.
Exactly.
So anyway, the first clip here is this clown talking about how he's going to change the name of the Gulf of Mexico to the Gulf of America. Let's listen to what President Musk's spokesperson, Donald Trump, had to say about the Gulf of Mexico.
You guys really in trouble, a lot of trouble. Very dangerous place. And we're going to be announcing at a future date pretty soon. We're going to change, because we do most of the work there and it's ours. We're going to be changing, sort of the opposite of Biden, where he's closing everything up, essentially getting rid of $50 to $60 trillion worth of assets. We're going to be changing the name of the Gulf of Mexico to the Gulf of America, which has a beautiful ring that covers a lot of territory. The Gulf of America, what a beautiful name. And it's appropriate. It's appropriate. And Mexico has to stop allowing millions of people to pour into our country. They can stop them. And we're going to put very serious tariffs on Mexico and Canada, because Canada, they come through Canada too, and the drugs that are coming through are at record numbers.
Okay. Captain Dipshit, obviously all over the place. But Lana, you have a good point, because there is one thing he said that I want to read here. He did bring up something about Biden and all the money that he's costing us. And what he's talking about is Biden put in some bans on drilling on the coast, which, by the way, the place where he put the bans, there's really not any drilling going on there anyway. Basically, what he's doing is making sure it's preserved just in case Donald Trump wants to go crazy and start drilling in places that really would produce nothing anyway. So it's important that people understand this. I want to read this to you, Lana, real quick. So it says, Biden bans new offshore drilling in most federal waters in last-minute effort to block possible action by Trump administration. President Joe Biden is moving to ban new offshore oil and gas drilling in most U.S. coastal waters, a last-minute effort to block possible action by the incoming Trump administration to expand offshore drilling. Biden, whose term expires in 2 weeks, said he is using authority under the Federal Outer Continental Shelf Lands Act to protect offshore areas along the east and west coast, the eastern Gulf of Mexico, and portions of Alaska's northern Bering Sea from future oil and natural gas leasing. My decision reflects what coastal communities, businesses, and beachgoers have known for a long time, that drilling off these coasts could cause irreversible damage to places we hold dear and is unnecessary to meet our nation's energy needs, Biden said in a statement. As the climate crisis continues to threaten communities across the country and we are transitioning to a clean energy economy, now is the time to protect these coasts for our children and our grandchildren. Biden orders would not affect large swaths of the Gulf of Mexico where most U.S. offshore drilling occurs, but it would protect coastlines along California, Florida, and other states from future drilling. Biden's actions, which protect more than 625 million acres of federal waters, could be difficult for President-elect Donald Trump to unwind, since they would likely require an act of Congress to repeal. Trump himself has a complicated history on offshore drilling. He signed a memorandum in 2020 directing the Interior Secretary to prohibit drilling in the waters off both Florida coasts and the coast of Georgia and South Carolina until 2032. The action came after Trump initially moved to vastly expand offshore drilling before retreating amid widespread opposition in Florida and other coastal states. Trump has vowed to establish what he calls American energy dominance around the world as he seeks to boost U.S. oil drilling, gas drilling, and move away from Biden's focus on climate change. Environmental advocates hailed Biden's actions, saying new oil and gas drilling must be sharply curtailed to reduce greenhouse gas emissions to contribute to global warming. 2024 was the hottest on record. Also want to go down. There's one other thing here I want to make sure that we read here. Biden actions build on the legacy Democrat and Republican presidents to protect coastal waters from offshore drilling, adding U.S. coastal lines are home to tens of millions of Americans and support billions of dollars of economic activity that depend on a clean environment, abundant wildlife, and thriving fisheries. Let me see here, Lana, because there's a couple other things in here I want to read. In balancing multiple uses of America's oceans, Biden said it was clear that the areas he is withdrawing from fossil fuel use show relatively minimal potential that does not justify possible environmental, public health, and economic risks that would come from new leasing. And then finally, this is where MAGA people are going to get screwed up, because the new spokesperson for MAGA, this Caroline Leavitt, has said that Joe Biden clearly wants high gas prices to be his legacy, because these MAGA people have been suckered into hearing about Biden shutting down drilling, so that means our gas prices are going to be higher. The spokesperson, Caroline Leavitt, called Biden's action a disgraceful decision designed to exact potential revenge on the American people who gave President Trump a mandate to increase drilling and lower gas prices. What's that?
He ain't got no mandate.
Yeah, we're going to go over that in a minute, too. Rest assured, Joe Biden will fail, and we will drill, baby, drill. And then finally, it does say here somewhere that currently the United States is drilling more than they ever have in the history of this country. So anyway, Lana, what do you think?
I think MAGA's stupid. I mean, so yes, that makes sense. We're drilling the most we've drilled before ever. Gas prices are good. People weren't complaining over the holidays about, oh my God, gas prices are so high right now, I can't even travel. People were traveling like crazy. Why? Because the gas prices were good. And I think they were drilling even more leading up to the holidays to keep the gas prices down. Like, I don't understand.
But also too, Lana, from my understanding, because I'm no energy expert, and I do tend to listen to the experts, a lot of the experts say that we could produce as much oil as we want to here in this country. That doesn't lower gas prices necessarily. Gas prices have a ton of different things that go into it that set the prices for gas. So this idea that we continue to allow people to believe, A, that we're not the most energy independent we've ever been in the history of this country, but B, that drilling more and Donald Trump taking over office and drill baby drill is now going to make gas prices low. This is why this country is fucking stupid.
Yeah, I don't think that he can even drill anymore because we're drilling a lot. And I guess you want the reserve so you don't have to depend on getting it from anyone else. I guess that's why you're drilling like that. But the other piece too, I heard Trump talk about coal mines, or like the coal industry today in that presser. I don't know, like it was real quick. He said something about getting back to coal. I'm like, wow. MAGA.
He said that the first time. He's just such a clown, and he knows the magic words to say to these people that when you hear these idiots that guest up on these TikTok lives and they go, why did you vote for Trump? And they go, because he's going to drill more and make gas prices lower.
They want to go to the coal mines? That's why.
Oh, it is nauseating. All right, Lana, our next clip. Spokesperson Trump lies again for the umpteenth time about January 6th.
It's not the way life works.
Two questions related to each other. First, you said on your first day of office you're going to pardon January 6th defendants. Are you planning to pardon those who were charged with violent offenses?
Well, we're looking at it, and we have other people in there. And as you see, I guess 24 or 28 people came now from the FBI. That came out very quietly. Nobody reported it, but they had people in some form related to the FBI. They had 4 or 5 people that were strongly related to the FBI. We have to find out about that. We have to find out about Hezbollah. We have to find out about who exactly was in that whole thing, because people that did some bad things were not prosecuted. You know, I see it all the time, and you see it too. People that were doing some bad things weren't prosecuted, and people that didn't even walk into the building are in jail right now. So we'll be looking at the whole thing, but I'll be making major pardons. Yes, please.
Lana,
Why
can you
did
explain to me? Well, first of all, can you explain to me why nobody has reported that the FBI was involved with January 6th?
That's what he was saying? I didn't even understand that point. That part. They were walking.
He says that nobody's reported it. I think I know why nobody's reported it, because it didn't fucking happen.
But why did he say Hezbollah?
Well, you know what I think? This is the only thing I can think of. I think that he's so dumb and he's so old now and he gets things mixed up. I think he wanted to say Antifa, and somehow he mixes Antifa and Hezbollah together, because Hezbollah, that's a brand new one for me.
And nobody said anything. We're just kind of like, okay.
Lana, we've been doing that for 8-9 fucking years with this guy. He's just going, okay. I mean, he's funny, I guess.
Everyone he said is, if Joe Biden did that, they'd be like, Sleepy Joe.
Sleepy Joe, they'd be calling for him to drop out of the race, which they did, which he did. Mm-hmm. I mean, Jesus fucking Christ. I can't do this anymore, because no, I can do it, and I will do it. And
you can do it.
This nonsense where this guy just says whatever he wants, and the people just stand there and go, I guess, what can you do? This next one, I told you we're going to bring this up. He claims he won in a landslide election. We're going to correct that here in a second after this clip.
We had a landslide election. We won every swing state. We won the popular vote by millions and millions of people. Nobody even knows how many people. Millions.
Oh my God.
And they're still counting in some areas. You know, they're still counting the vote in some areas. Can you believe this? What a place. What a horrible place. One of the things we're going to do is we've got to fix the election so that we get honest counts and they get done by 10 o'clock in the evening.
I'm going to be honest with you. I'm not totally against that. Some of these states, I don't understand why it takes.
It's ridiculous, but he won and he's still complaining.
Correct. I mean, that I agree with, but that's not like a Donald Trump thing that it's just he says something every once in a while, and I'm like, well, that I agree with, but based on what he's saying, it's just still.
Or something thereabouts. They have places where they're still counting votes.
Okay. Well, the landslide that he's talking about, Lana, let's take a look at that landslide. So I think, again, this is our country's very, I've said this a million times. They're not necessarily stupid people. I mean, there are people who do things for a living that I would never, ever be able to figure out. And I believe that they're very smart in things that they do. But many people in this country are just politically stupid. They see this. They see red here. They see red here. They see red here. They see red here. And they say, he won in a landslide. They see 312 to 226. He won in a landslide. But they don't see this. that he won 49.9% of the vote. You know what that means, Lana? He got less than 50% of the vote, which is less than majority of the country. He won by 1.5 points in the popular vote, which is the third lowest total in the history of this country. And then if you also look here to the right, Lana, let's look at some of these other races. He won Wisconsin 49.7, so he barely won Wisconsin. 50.4 in Pennsylvania, he barely won Pennsylvania. 50.6 in Nevada. 51% in North Carolina. 49.7. You get the picture.
Right.
So the reason, another thing, we're just going to continue to let him say mandate, and we're going to let these idiots go around and say that he blew her out. He barely beat somebody that had 100 days to run. And because we have a politically stupid country, many people did not know who Kamala Harris was and what she stood for.
Right.
She only had 3 months to tell the American people, this is why I should beat a guy that you guys have whitewashed for fucking 9-10 years.
Yeah, exactly. That's exactly the point. She came that close with only a few months with a guy he's been running since the last time he friggin' lost.
This is him talking about all the court cases that he won.
Remember, this is a man that said he wants the transition to be smooth. Well, you don't do the kind of things. You don't have a judge working real hard to try and embarrass you. Because I did nothing wrong. By the way, I did nothing, absolutely nothing wrong.
Oh, my God.
If I did something wrong, I wouldn't be standing here right now because I've won all these cases. Nobody's ever won so many cases as I have against the Justice Department. I mean, Jack Smith had cases all over the place. People were being subpoenaed. Lives were being ruined. They were spending everything they had, money. We were helping them out. We had to. They were subpoenaing people that had no idea what they were even talking about. That's a sick group of people. And it was.
You had somebody talking about they don't know what they're talking about. Somebody who clearly doesn't know what he's talking about. By the way, anybody MAGA who watches this now, who watches it later, produce for me one case that he won. Like it went through trial and he won. That's the only way you win a trial. And no, these trials were not thrown out because they didn't have merit. There's trials were thrown because he won the presidency and there was no reason to continue with this because he's just going to pardon himself anyway.
Absolutely.
And there's no time to get the trial in at this point.
Yeah, right. And dear MAGA, he's a felon.
He is a felon.
Like they're going around talking about, well, he wasn't sentenced, so he's not a felon. It's like
they don't understand.
He's a convict. Convicted.
Yep.
Convicted felon because he was convicted of felonies, right? Technically, right? He hasn't been formal because he hasn't been, but that's just a technicality. He's still a felon. Whether he's
when you see any of those, maybe we can dumb it down for some of the people. When you watch maybe a Dateline 2020, whatever, and you see one of those cases where the husband murders the wife and they go through the whole case and the husband is found guilty.
Right.
At that point, he's a convicted felon. And I'm assuming that you're watching 2020 and you're going, well, he's fucked. You wait. He waits for the sentencing now. All you're doing now is just waiting to see what the punishment is to you being a convicted felon.
Right.
If you don't understand the difference between the decision and the sentencing, then you shouldn't be voting. You should be working. I don't know. You might have to do you ever see the movie Billy Madison?
No.
Adam Sandler, where he, in order to take over his dad's company, he had to go back to kindergarten and go all the way back through high school. I think we need to do a Billy Madison with a lot of people.
It's just bad. It's just really bad because how can you listen to him? I
don't know.
And not go, oh. He's just not talked so much because he sounds crazy. Every time he talks, he sounds crazy. The great
perfect segue to the next clip.
People that I can rely on, but the 625 million acres, people can't realize it's like the whole ocean. Take an acre. You know, an acre, you have a house on a half an acre, on a quarter of an acre, or an acre. If you have an acre, you have a big deal. Now you multiply that by 625 million acres. It's like, feels like the whole ocean. And
Okay. I don't know. If anybody speaks Trump, if you understand what he said, you can explain it to me and you can go, these two are idiots because they don't understand what he was talking about. I'm fine. I'm an idiot because I have no fucking idea what he's saying. And there's context to it, I'm sure. I don't care that there's context to it. Please explain it to me.
But who uses that? Even if you're talking about how big a country is, like, that's just a weird way to explain it. Like, it just doesn't make any sense. What the fuck are we talking about? Multiply an acre by 600 million. Like, where the fuck are you getting these numbers from? You're just kind of like, that's the guy y'all voted for? Like, that guy?
I also think, too, again, he's so simple-minded. He hears the word acre. He associates it with his real estate, what he thinks is a real estate business. So he gets excited because he goes, I know the word acre. So now I can sound intelligent.
It's a beautiful word.
It's a beautiful word. I know acre. Nobody knows acre better than me.
Exactly. No one says acre. I just
Yeah. In fact, I made up the word acre. Oh, man. 4 more years, Lana. 4 more years.